Okay, welcome to another episode of Unearthing of Truth. And today our topic is healing from heartbreak. And I have my co host, Lex Lou, and I also have Takia Diamond. In addition to that, I have Melissa Obi. Now, Melissa Obi is the one who created the event photo that I have attached to the event. And I didn't even know that when I picked it, and I tagged her in this live event. And she asked if she could, no, she didn't ask. I asked her if she could be on the show because she had an interesting take on it. Let's talk about that in the beginning before we get into the original topic. Melissa, can you explain the debate that you had and what prompted the original post?
Well, I was in a heated debate with a brother, and we were discussing nationhood and how it affects Black people in America as we are in a permanent caste system here. And, we were discussing if we were the original indigenous people here and if we were also still connected to our African roots. And I know a lot of people dispel that. But he made a comment to me and he was like, "Get off my land." I'm like, "Get off your land." And that's what prompted the post.
Wow. Wow. Okay. And that's pretty deep. Because I think that we need to go to the foundation. Like when we're talking about healing, a lot of people don't know what they're healing from or where it stems from. A lot of stuff is karmic, it's ancestral, it's where you're living. A lot of things go into what creates the person that you see. So we all deal with heartache in different ways, and a lot of people, not a lot, let me not say that because I didn't do a global poll, so I'm not going to use that word. But there are many people that I've encountered that were concerned that they don't feel like the Black woman could be healed. Like she just seems like damaged goods. So, ladies, I want to ask you, what is your take on that? Because, they always have these discussions without us. And I think that it is high time that we have this discussion together.
Well, collectively, we are all damaged goods.
Okay. And so being that we're collectively damaged goods, do you think there's, how do we repair that? Is there a way to repair it, or what do we do to fix that?
I think first we got to be real about the fact that we do need healing and we all need it collectively. And then just having the conversations and bringing groups together and being able to say, this is what the problems are and this is how we need to face them, but we need to face them together. If we continue to separate our issues and hide from conversations and not really tackle anything, just keep pushing it under the rug, then we're never going to be able to properly heal from the things that we need to heal. It starts with our individual selves, and then it starts in our homes. And then once we can do those things, we can branch out and receive that same type of healing outside of those spaces.
Now, do you ever notice that, because also I noticed, I had reposted a post from one of my sisters on Facebook, Sakwiti. She's a fabulous clothes designer, by the way. But she made a post and she was talking about how certain Black men will paint women as being crazy. But we never address what the root of that craziness is. Like, you ever be in situation, because to me, to call somebody crazy is dismissive within itself, because it's like everybody acts on a certain stimulus. You know, we don't just, you know, I mean, there are certain people that are dealing with certain issues that have no control, but that's not who I'm addressing here. I'm talking about the people who consider themselves conscious and aware and, you know, say that they know what's going on. Now, when you have scenarios like that, that is, you know, those are symptoms. You know what I mean? Like, you know, because when I listen to brothers like Tommy Sotomayor, you know, and hear, like, I hear beyond what he's saying. Like, a lot of people get caught up into what he's saying, but if you get to the depths, he's in pain. He is hurt that that the woman that he's come from is being depicted like this. So he started out, you know, like, all right, maybe if I show this, they'll get the picture. You know what I'm trying to say? But that's not how we get the picture. You know what I mean? Like, that's not going to heal us. Maybe some, because he has some female co-signers, but a lot of times the ones that do co-sign it with him have a inner self-hatred. Because if you really knew yourself, you would know why people are the way they are and why they act the way they act and why they do the things that they do. You know what I mean? Like, it's all about having empathy, forgiveness, and an open mind, you know? And one of the things that me and Lex talked about earlier was, you know, we have these conscious brothers who, you know, talk about all this healing and I can know how to change this and metaphysical that, but where that all goes thrown out the window when it comes to your relationships. Like, why? Like, where did all of that, you know? So, and then they don't understand why, as black women, we're just like, you know, disengaged from some of the things that they're doing because of their disengagement and trying to heal the family dynamic, you know? And, but like you said, it goes back to self. Lex, did you want to add on to that?
Yeah, because hold on, let me turn. Or you might have to turn me down so I'm not echoing.
Okay.
But just to add to it, self-healing is important first. You have to first recognize that you yourself are in a place of not having let go of certain things, not having faced certain fears and insecurities, not having faced certain traumas and things that you have had to deal with, especially if that trauma has resulted in depression or bad habits. Those habits can also add on to bodily dysfunction and mental dysfunction as well. So if you eat bad, if you take, you know, really bad care of yourself, it's going to reflect in the relationships that you have as well, because until you learn how to love yourself, and that's not just saying, looking in the mirror and saying, oh my God, I love myself, but it's really acting on that, eating the right foods, exercising, taking time to meditate and unplug, detoxing your body from certain chemical imbalances and things that you might have. Like, it's really real on the self-heal note, and you have to take it serious. And when we start taking it serious like that and start really getting rid of toxic situations, toxic people, toxic things, toxic foods, toxic way of thinking, then we can start branching out to other people and starting to help them heal as well. So for me personally, doing meditations, I'm also a Reiki therapist, so I've done Reiki treatments on myself and my family as well. I start with my own home first. Right. I start with the balancing in my house first. And if I can be in balance, then even if my spouse is not in balance, then I know how to try to rectify or get him back onto that path. But he has to be on that level as well. He has to be in a mode of nurturing and healing as well, which a lot of men don't consider themselves to be. But men are healers as well, and men have that nurturing side through their healing abilities of their women and of their children. So you have to be able to take that on as a man also and say, you know what, I'm doing the work to heal myself, and it's going to reflect in myself and in my family. So that way we can continue to try to keep the balance in our home. Because if we're not doing that, then it's gonna make it hard to go outside of the home and just heal. It's not gonna happen like that. We have to start with self.
Right.
That's true. And one thing I wanted to add to that, this is Miss Diamond, everyone. What I wanted to add to that, like what you're saying about eating the right foods and, just nourishing your body inside, it's an inside job first. And what will end up happening is, as she was talking about, like, getting rid of all of the toxic people and the toxic situations and all of those things dropping off, they all drop off because your vibration is going to be higher. So whenever you eat food that raise your vibration, don't be surprised if the relationship you're in no longer works out, because if you're not on the same frequency, can't stay together. You might have thought it was going to be that way, but if one, uprises the other in vibration, it's going to make it, the relationship is going to be a little difficult to get through.
I agree.
Yeah, that's why both people have to be willing to elevate together. Because if, like Lex brought out in her statement, like, if you have a partner that, you trust and you see that they're going through a dark time, and then you know how to bring them out of that, and they trust you in that process, and they do the same for you, that's when it's grounded in your elevation. But if you, like Takia said, if you're elevating and the other person isn't elevating along with you, you have to let it go. But don't feel bad about it. Just know that everything is a process in life. And not everybody is meant to stay in your life. You have to be thankful. Even the people that you're so angry at and that hurt you so bad, you have to see their purpose, like their total purpose for being in your life. And once you do that, it frees you. Like, you don't understand how freeing it is when you let go of anger, hate, vindictiveness, hatred. It's just like, and these are people that hurt you, but you don't realize how, in being in their presence, they opened up so many other avenues in your life that you didn't even expect.
That's so true. I was just about to say that. I was just about to say that, some people come in your life for a reason, a season, and a lifetime. And you never know, whatever lessons that you were supposed to learn, it had to come through that person in order to make you grow. Right. It wasn't to make you suffer. And when you start looking at things like everything is just separation, that's what the world wants us to believe. But there's like a whole other world going on where there is no separation, and it's happening right here on Earth while we're presently here. Right. So it's just a matter of, what are you tapped in and tuned into? Right. And it's so important for you to put yourself first sometimes, and you have to take care of yourself. That self-care matters more, than anything. Because how can you take care of anybody else if you're not taking care of the time that you need to nurture you? Not the you that you think you are, that other part of you that, wants to shine out, and it can't if you're, continuously operating against vibrations like that. You have to raise your vibration, and some people can't stay, and that's just the way it is.
Okay. Now, go ahead. Who is that?
That was me.
Oh, okay.
I said, well.
And and then addressing the part of, can a strong man help heal a broken woman?
Yes. Because she just, was that Takia? Are you the one that just made the statement? Okay. Yeah, because like Takia said, when you have self-care, if he's a strong man, then that means he's strong in mind, body, and spirit. Mm-hmm. That means that he's taking care of himself first. Mm-hmm. So he knows how to take care of the house. He knows how to see that his woman is low vibrations right now. He knows how to understand that maybe she's stressed out. There's a way that he can take a stress off of her. Like, that's what relationships are about. True oneness that is about growth and elevation, you're going to be able to balance each other consistently. If not, it's going to fall off. It's going to be something that doesn't last. It's just a lesson, type of relationship, and that's okay too. But it's about being able to recognize what it really is. And if it's something where you're dealing with a highly conscious man, he should be able to help heal you. Your healing starts with yourself, but he should be able to assist, just like you should be able to assist him, especially when you're on a higher vibration.
That's right.
But you also have to be open and willing for him to assist you. Because sometimes, like, say if that man has hurt the woman, and I know from personal experiences when faced with that, like, I pushed them away. Like, I don't want your help. But deep down inside, I felt like if they would have fought harder, you know what I'm saying, that might have swayed me. You know what I mean? I know it would have. But it just, for that moment, it was just like I was so disgusted. I was so angry. I just, like, don't touch me. I was, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. But when you're like that, that pushes someone that, like you said, if they're not strong enough or, wise enough to recognize the root of those symptoms and take it from there, you know what I mean, and find out what the real problem is in that situation, then they're able to, go past that. And, you're able to work past those issues. But if they're not, that's, a lot of people give up. Like the sister was talking about on her video when she was like, oh, I can't see my kids because I have a crazy baby mother. Well, maybe that, a lot of people don't get to the root of that. Like, why is she crazy? You know what I'm saying? Why is it acceptable for us as women, you know what I'm saying, to accept that when a man tells us that about someone without even knowing a person? You know what I mean?
Right.
And so a lot of women, like, we have to learn, like you said, it goes back to that self-love, but we have to learn how, when we're in situations like that, how to band together, and stick together and not be messy. Like, if you are dealing with somebody, like Sakwiti said, if you are dealing with somebody that is not taking care of their children, you're part of the problem. You know what I'm saying? Because you're allowing that individual to, think that that's okay, and it's not okay. So
that's so true.
Yeah, so part of the healing from the heartbreak, I think, is us building a true sisterhood bond. Like, if a man is married, you know what I mean? Unless him and that woman have a clear understanding that you're going to be a part of their life, you know what I'm saying? You really shouldn't be involved in that situation if you're going to be in there sexually. Because that's swapping of energies. Now, if you're just having communication and stuff like that, then sometimes they need that. You know what I'm trying to say? So they don't go off and do the crazy stuff. You know what I mean? But we as women, like, we got to start accepting more. You can't. Why would you want to, like, certain people have been so hurt and so burnt, they're like, to hell with it. I've seen so many messed up men growing up in my life. I'ma just dog everyone. You want to act like a hoe? I'ma pimp you. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, they got that mentality.
That crazy stuff. But you know what, though? I think that one thing that people fail to realize is that the person you can only meet the person where they are.
Right.
And as we go through relationships, it's not that person intentionally hurt you. It's what happened to that man when he was a little boy that made him feel that somebody was going to reject him. What else happened in his childhood as he was growing up that maybe his mother wasn't around and he had to get raised by his grandmother rather than his mother? What happened where was the father a part of his life? Maybe the father was a part of his life and he was abusive to the mother, and he's trying to manage all of that stuff. Like, we all have a brain, and not neither one of our brains have the same memories. None of our brains carry the same memories. And so that's the thing is that, you know, sometimes you got to go a little bit deeper before you go calling somebody your man.
Right.
Because you don't really know their story until you really actually sit down and talk to the brother a little bit, you know?
Right.
Before you ready to drop your drawers and all that other crazy stuff that really is meaningless if y'all really knew the truth. But,
Right.
And if you really wanted to know, check out his moon sign. His moon sign will tell you what his relationship was like with his mother. That's a little tidbit that I'm giving y'all. You know what I mean? Even if somebody don't want to talk about it.
Or his grandmother, because a lot of the men now are being raised by their grandparents out of their parents, because the parents still think they're young and they still run in the streets and doing all this other stuff, and the grandparents are raising the boys,
Right.
and the girls, you know?
Right.
But,
And they don't got the energy.
I want to make the point that, you know, when you're in a relationship with someone, it's not that person, you know, deliberately wanted to hurt you. That was all that they knew how to do. You know, the only way they knew how to handle the pain was to leave you alone and not call you for a month. You know, maybe they just needed some boy time, or maybe they needed to just figure their life out and didn't want to be bothered with anyone. You know what I mean? Everybody handles things differently. And we just have to respect each other's views and the time that we need by ourselves, because the way that God works is sometimes he'll use turmoil to create new soil, you know?
Right.
And just grow from there.
Right.
And just to add on to that too, you gotta see where your love is at.
Right.
Exactly.
Do you have conditional love or do you have unconditional love?
Unconditional love.
Because if
Right.
you have unconditional love for somebody, you should be able to dig deep into their past, and you should be able to
Absolutely.
have understanding. Because relationships
Right.
are not about being right and being wrong. It's about understanding. When you really are one and you're building and you're trying to elevate with that man, with that woman, then you should be trying to seek an understanding. You shouldn't be trying to be right or be wrong. That
Be
shouldn't
right
even
or wrong,
be in
right.
the equation when y'all are having disagreements or growing periods. It's not even a disagreement, it's a period of growth. When you're having a period of growth, then you got to be trying to understand. And if you're really trying to understand, then it might require separation. It might require, like you said, he might go off and not call you for a month, because that's how you know how he deals with things. So in order to understand, you have to maybe think, well, we might have to learn each other and then unlearn some stuff that we learned from our past.
Right.
To relearn some new things,
Right.
to really build this thing
That's
exactly
right.
how we want it to be.
Right.
Yes. I always say, you know, when I do like the seminars and stuff, I say, you know, before you come in here judging anything, just get ready to unlearn everything that you've learned.
Right.
Because what I'm gonna say to you might not be what you used to hearing. But just be open-minded about, you know, what I share. And they all walk away, you know, blown away, because nobody, you know, a lot of them don't have anybody around them like us, you know, who are in light to really help them. And some of them don't know help is available, and some of them don't want the help. They're just stuck in the Matrix system and they're comfortable there.
Right. Right. And even so brothers could understand signs with females, like if a female shuts down and isn't talking, it doesn't mean that she's plotting on, you know, something sinister.
Right.
You know what I'm trying to say? It could just be like, it's always like, oh,
It's like she gonna burn them clothes.
right,
You ain't
right.
talking.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Where my keys? Let me hide it. Where's my phone? You know, like, it's not that. It's just sometimes we're just going through things in our heads. And another thing is, you know, like sometimes men have to realize that sometimes you are the reason why their woman smiles. And the smile that's on your woman's face is a reflection of how you treat her. You know what I mean? And if a woman is in your corner, you will see it. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, you know, it's just a lot of relationships are in this turmoil right now because people are not realizing that what you think you're going to manifest. You know what I'm saying? And you're going to bring it into reality in a way that you never even imagined, because you got your mind focused on negativity and or what negatively could happen in your personal situation, instead of seeing what's really going on. What do you see? What's the real evidence? not the false evidence appearing real, and we bring our fears into our relationships and our insecurities. But you should, once you acknowledge these things, you should be open to changing these things within yourself. You know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't be in a position where you're not looking to, like, from the beginning of this conversation, I was like, the three things that are necessary are empathy, having an open mind. And first of all, we also have to learn the difference between communication and effective communication. Because what we say and what a person hears is two different things in a lot of situations. Why? Because we filter them, what people say, through our life experiences. You know what I mean? And how we see things. That's why people in a older generation cringe when they hear the word nigger, but the younger generation, it's like they don't care, because we filter it through our lens of experience. You know what I mean? So we have to be careful in the relationships that we're not making that person that we're in a relationship the Jesus Christ of everybody that has gone before. Don't assume that this person, it might be the old person that pops back up or a new person. Don't assume that they are anything like your old experiences, especially if you feel that you are growing beyond those experiences. You know what I'm saying? So that to me, like, especially if it's something you really wanted and you really have your mind on positivity, and then it's presented to you and then you just muddy it all up. That's a disrespect to the universe for bringing you that gift. We don't look at things like that. We have to be mindful and stop being so skeptical when what we think, what we really wanted is presented, because we can destroy that in the process with our fears, and insecurities. Like, when it's there, what's yours, nobody else can have. So if you're in a relationship and something happens and it don't work out, you know what I'm trying to say? And I'm not talking about having unrealistic expectations. We all make mistakes in relationships. Some are more severe than others, but it's what you're willing to tolerate. Is this a continual mistake? Is this something that's being done over and over again? Or did a person learn from the first time? You got to be as forgiving that you want people to be of yourself. And a lot of times, the people that are the most critical of themselves are very critical of others. So you have to keep that in mind. When sometimes when people are talking to you and the stuff doesn't apply to you and what you're doing, realize they really haven't allowed self-talk. And a lot of times that happens to people that are closest to you, because you're just opening up and just spewing. You can't behave like that in public because you'll probably be, put in a nut house. So, a lot of times they show their true colors, you know what I'm trying to say, amongst people that they know and that they're comfortable with. So, with that being said, we have to develop that empathy, when and learn how to forgive, be forgiving and keep an open mind, all things are subject to change. Like, you don't believe in Santa Claus anymore. You don't believe in, any of the things that you thought Columbus discovered America. Any of those things. You grew past it, and we were taught these things in school. So look at the levels of programming that people are dealing with. So instead of saying be kinder to others, since people that are so critical, I'm going to say be kinder to yourself. It's okay to make mistakes. Love you. I love you beyond you. You got to love you beyond you. And that's how, that marks real truth, growth, and development. When you're able to see that, switch things in your mind instead of seeing the negativity involved. What did you learn from it? That's the best part. Because if you don't know that, you're going to repeat it. So it's like, in order to heal, you have to acknowledge the real point of where's the root? Like, where did it come from? Like like was brought out today, did it come from not getting that love and nurturing as a child? Did your first boyfriend or girlfriend break up with you? Because I remember, and in my marriage, I know this. I got married when I was 24. My ex-husband was still upset over a girl that he waited for forever, and then his friend took her away from him, and he was still mad. You know what I'm trying to say? And it's like they were 15, and I was like, let it go. Like certain things like that, people don't realize how that affects a person's esteem. And then they'll go on years and years and years thinking it was something wrong with them, and they trying to look for all this external validation when the truth is the validation has to come from with you. You know, you have to validate yourself. Once you validate yourself, all that outside chatter that you hear will be silenced. Why? Because you're standing in your own power. You got to realize that we are all individuals on this planet. And we all have different specific goals and purposes on why we're here. Even if it's something similar, you might have the same North Node, but your particular job and duty is going to be different from the next person's. And you have to embrace that. Like there was, earlier, there was a post and it was like, choose one. Are you going to be a Hebrew or something else, right? And I'm like, well, suppose that person's individual culture is a combination of them both. Like, why are we trying to place people in boxes that we don't want to be placed in? You know, we have to learn to be kind to one another. You know what I'm saying? And just like, and respect people's journeys and their growth process. And part of that, respecting their growth process, is not forcing anyone to grow quicker than they're ready to grow. You know, because no matter how much you want, you still have, in order to have a flower, you still going to have to plant the seed, wait, add water, sunlight, and it's still going to take time for it to what? Grow. And that's how we are. And we don't respect that. Like, you know, you're not growing fast enough. You know, like, what kind of fertilizer we could do? Oh, these cows are not big enough. What kind, you know, it's like, it's so unnatural to be natural these days. And so we really have to think about it, because there's so many levels to this. You know, you think you mad at your mate, and you're really not. You could find out that you're really mad at the community you live in. You're really mad at the job that you chose to take. You're really mad at you made the wrong decision back 10 years before you even met your mate. That's why you even feel the way you feel. But you won't know this if your mate doesn't know these things. If y'all don't communicate about these things, then there's not going to be any healing involved in this. You have to, because you could go through all the healing therapy as you want. And if it's one-sided and the other person's not healing at the same time, how good is that healing work at all? You know, so that's why I implore people that do have issues to, you know, find a way to work them out in some shape, form, or fashion. But in some situations, it might not, you might not be able to, because that person is not at that level of healing. So you just got to let them go at, you know, at the pace that they are, and just love them from a distance, you know, at the end of the day. So, you know, this is, we're definitely going to have to do a part 2 of this, where the men are going to discuss the same issues, so that, you know, so we can have a balanced approach and a balanced look at this issue, because, you know, we really need to heal, you know, and we don't know what love is. We accept it when society tells us what love is, you know, but every individual loves differently. Find your mate's love language. Let your mate discover your love language. Don't be so closed up from so many past hurts, from people that hurt you that wasn't your mate, that you can't open up and heal one another. Because sometimes in healing, you might touch a person's wound and they might think, you know, like they just jump like, ouch. but you're really applying antiseptic. Keep applying that antiseptic. You know what I mean? If you feel that it's gonna be warranted. Now, don't keep applying the antiseptic if you think they just gonna cut off their arm. You know what I'm trying to say? At the end of the day, so just you have to make a discerned decision, and if you need help with that, you can always inbox me on Facebook. I also do spiritual readings, so to help you get back on track, not in a negative sense or anything like that. So don't ask me anything like that, because I won't. Anything I do is for your highest good, but did you guys want to add on to anything? Takia, you have your business. Did you want to plug that or anything, guys?
I think the closing remarks for it is really just, for everyone to do it. The name of my company is keep your minds up, keep a positive outlook on everything, because it can work, and we can heal from our past, and I think that we have to come to the point of understanding that it was really just an experience, and become detached from the experience itself, because you are who you are as an individual. The experience is something completely separate from who you are. And so when you, become one with that experience and you're just stuck in that experience, you can't attract anything else, because that's the only experience you see. But when your vibration is higher, you won't even attract people to even hold conversations with people like that are on a lower level, and it's not to judge them or to point out, oh, we're better, or they're better than us, or they're worse. It's to just say that you guys have what we have inside of us. Mm-hmm. Each and every one of us have this infinite intelligence that allows us to be more than we ever could have believed that we were. And it's time for you to understand that, getting through the breakup was a part of your breakthrough. And when you understand that and you see it as just that, as just the experience itself, you'll be able to free yourself, because you are not the experience. The experience happened for you. It didn't happen to you.
And you also have to think about that when forgiving people as well. Like, separate a person's actions from who they are in their soul and who they are, deep down inside. See their inner good, because part of that sometimes breaks us away from situations, like not being able to separate someone from an act that they did. People grow. Allow them that growth, but if they haven't, you know what to do. But give them that opportunity to show you that. Don't be so dismissive, because you will. If you didn't learn that lesson, whatever you were supposed to learn, you're going to pick it up with the next relationship. And that's why that's where the term rebound relationship comes from. Because you haven't learned those lessons before you moved on. So when you take that time out to heal, before you jump on to the next situation, you can have a healthier, sound relationship, because you reflected on all those lessons. So now you don't have to repeat them moving forward, And, so did you want to plug your business, Takia?
Sure, sorry. Minds Up is the name of the movement. I'm a personal development author, a transformation speaker, a life coach, and a mindset coach. And what I do is help men and women, who are seeking success, break through the barriers. I help them identify their limiting beliefs, and I also help them eliminate those beliefs and replace them with new brain wiring, so that you can think differently, therefore you'll act differently. I can be found at www.takiadiamond.com. Mm-hmm. If you can't add me as a friend, don't worry. Inbox me and I'll delete somebody to add you. But, so that's it. And then the website is either takiadiamond.com or mindsuplife.com. And I have a lot of helpful tools there that can really, help you evolve. You can do one-on-one coaching with me or participate in like a few of the mastermind groups that I have and things like that. And, just remember, guys, we're all one. What I'm doing it with you. I'm doing it with you. You guys are doing it with me. It's one force. So I would love to have anybody who is also enlightened, join the team. And let's raise the vibration on the planet and see something different because it's available to us. We just have to have enough of us looking at it and seeing it that way.
Okay, and Lex, you have any closing remarks?
Can you hear me?
Is Lex still there?
Oh, yep, I'm still here.
And Melissa? Go ahead.
Yep, basically, just to close, I think everybody said some really wonderful things that could be of aid and assistance to everyone. Just to do the work and do the work with yourself and not really see things as necessarily good or bad, but try to just see them, like Takia said, as just an experience that you had to learn from and grow from. And your experience can really be whatever you want it to be. Like, we are definitely the authors of our own stories. And once we figure that out, then that's when we can really empower ourselves to live the lives that we want to live. So just don't be fearful in doing the actual work. Don't think that you're just going to heal by waking up and saying, ooh, I'm healed, and that's it. Like, face the ugly part of yourself, face the ugly situations that you've been through, and love it. Look at all that terrible, ugly stuff and love it and say, you know what, this is a part of me. This does not define me, but this is a part of what I went through, and this is a part of my growth. And then use it as fuel to move forward. And to add to communication, when communicating with other people, just try to listen. Because if you listen long enough, then people will tell you exactly who they are. And so listen with an open heart, an open mind, and open ears. Don't just listen to respond. Listen to receive the true answers to what you really want to know about that person, and then go from there on trying to build. If we understand that at our core that we all have goodness to us, that our intent is built in pure love, then we'll be able to move forward with understanding. And you can find me at welcometothegroomroom.com or So Well Groomed. I have an imaging company, so what I do is a lot of self-image from the inside out, because I also am a Reiki healer. So I also deal with that as far as the inner experience, but the outer experience as well, doing makeovers, hair, makeup, photography, videography. I also help small businesses with their photography and videography and putting together small Instagram and Facebook videos or commercials to help assist getting their business out there.
Okay. And Melissa, did you have any closing remarks? Or anything you wanted to add on? Is she still there? Okay. Okay, so we're gonna end this episode of.
Melissa's still there. Melissa's still here.
I just have to phone you.
Okay, there you go.
When you hear me in the background typing. I just want to add that, we're not a monolithic people. We all come with our own experiences and our own issues. And that a lot of times, sometimes we really do just have to let go of the anger, because I think that our men kind of see us, they develop this subcultural point of view of who we are as women.
Right.
And a lot of times they're giving talking points of what the dominant society has said about us based on historical things that have happened in the past. I just think that sometimes we need not live up to those type of stereotypes of being angry all the time, and it's not about not being able to express who you are, but sometimes it's about your delivery. And that's all I wanted to add to that.
Oh, well, I want to touch on what you just said in regards to the delivery. I want to tell you what my personal experience was and where it stemmed from. It was stemming from when you're living as a single woman and you're raising sons. It seems like it hardens you in a sense because there's no balance of that energy. You know, it's like testosterone is just flying off the handle. And you develop a hardness because you don't want to be too feminine because, you know what I mean? Like, and confused, not even, you get what I mean? What, you like, make them anything other than their father was, put it like that. So it kind of, you know, it's sometimes like men don't realize like when they leave their children to be in single family households, it really messes up the balance of the home because it's like you get no breaks as a mom. You don't have that time to like really just sit in your femininity because you gotta boys respond to bass in their voices and things like that, and so you become stern. So little boys grow up and they're seeing their moms doing everything like, you know, I want to be like my mama. I don't want to be like my father. Like my father wasn't doing this, that, and the third. And then you start seeing them develop habits and mannerisms of the person that they felt was the dominant, you know what I mean? Because they had nothing else to really attach that to. So like one of my nonprofit that I'm starting, Malik's Village, that's one of the things that I'm trying to get that whole village. Like it takes a village to raise a child. And I don't care what any woman says. You know, if you want to have a well-balanced child, and it's a boy, he needs positive male influences in his life.
Absolutely. I agree.
You know, and that kind of messes up the dynamics for relationships because a woman's first boyfriend or, you know, whatever is her father. You know, that's where she gets those cues, how she watches what is acceptable. And a boy is his mother. So he could see what he's going to get away with women. You know what I'm trying to say? And so
yes,
we got to realize that in raising children that we are kind of creating this, adding on to the dysfunction that's on the planet in regards to, and I don't care what race you are, you know what I'm saying, if you have these issues, you know, because now with so many different people being thrown in the inner city, what messes up that vibe, you have so many people on top of each other and a lot of concrete, so that energy just stays there. So, and it's like people are going to a sensory overload, you know, and they don't even realize that's what they're doing until they go on vacation. And then they feel that calmness. Because, you know, I'm from the inner city in New Jersey. And you know what I mean? And that's just, the energy there was just so toxic to the cells and everything in my body, because from the pollution to everything that was going on. And people think that's normal. It's not normal. You know what I mean? It's not normal to walk around where you can't breathe and breaking out and all types of toxic stuff and homes being built on chromium and you don't even know that. You know what I'm trying to say? Because you didn't live there.
Lead paint, all of that goes into that.
Liberty State Park, that park is built on a landfill. A lot of people don't know that. You know, and when I found that out, I just stopped going. You know, it's like, and then right after that, I moved to Texas and then North Carolina because I just couldn't do it anymore. Like, I want to see real soil. I want to touch the real earth. Like, and since I've been down here and got holistic with my healing approaches and everything, like my kids don't use inhalers. They don't need any of those things that they was bombarded by, even when we first moved out here. You know, because even for asthma, cardamom is very good. And things like that, cardamom, ginger, and all that. Even foods I was allergic to, I can consume, you know, as long as I have those herbs in me. So it's so much you can learn when you disconnect. And that can also, like you said, facilitate the healing process earlier today. But we're definitely going to have to do another show. The men are gonna do a show about the same topic, but we're gonna converge again to do another show. I'll set out an event before the show so you'll know when it'll be. Anybody had anything? Melissa, did you have a business you wanted to plug?
Yeah, OLJ Technical Services. I do network. I build networks, troubleshoot it. Anything that has to do with anything on your server, your routers, your switches, anything you need. If you want a small in-home network or you're building a business and you want something in the data center, you want to rent a space in the data center to communicate with other customers or build your base, just look me up. I'm on Facebook as well.
Okay. And so we'll all message inside of the message for this, so you can contact us all on Facebook if need be. So I'm gonna end this episode of
what part of North Carolina are you in?
Chapel Hill.
Oh, I used to live in Raleigh. I'm in Charlotte now.
Oh wow. Oh, I'm going there next, but I'll tell you about that. All right, but yep, so we're going to end this broadcast, and thank you for joining in.